Shri Jag Mohan. Please. Kindly resume.
Thank you, sir, very much for giving me this opportunity. Let me at the very outset congratulate the government most warmly for the courage and commitment they have shown in taking this momentous decision. Let me also congratulate our great scientists and technologists who have put India on the map of the world and who have done this nation proud. Let me also congratulate the defense forces which have played a notable role in organizing a successful operation. Now, sir, there are certain points that are being raised, and I like to deal with them one by one. First is the issue of timing. It has been rubbed, why this timing? Now let me first invite your attention. May I have, sir, the attention?
Yes.
Let me, sir, invite your attention to the manifesto of the Bharatiya Janata Party and what was also included in national agenda later on. The BJP rejects the notion of nuclear apartheid and will actively oppose attempts to impose a hegemonistic nuclear regime. We will not be dictated by any in matters of security requirements and in exercise of nuclear option. Now there are four components of this. It clearly says that we will not allow hegemonistic power cartels to come in and dictate the world. It is not only the security requirement, and also we have said that we will give priority to security requirement and we will be the judge of the security requirement. No one else can judge whatever security requirement will be. We have also made it very clear that we will pursue this goal actively. What does it mean actively? Actively means that we'll pursue it with utmost speed. When we find that it is in our national interest, we have therefore acted as quickly as we could. There is nothing wrong. And then we had also said that the initiative will be in our hand. We will not be only reacting to events, but we will take the initiative and determine and shape the events at the international level. We will just not play a reactive role. These are the basic issues which we must keep in mind. And it is on the basis of this manifesto that BJP has come into power. It was its duty, BJP's duty, because people have endorsed it. And the national agenda has also got of our ruling parties. If you have, therefore, it's a majority country. And after the test, opinion polls are there which overwhelmingly support what has been done. I did not interrupt you. Anyhow,
No,
those four metropolitan cities are not a small segment. They represent the view of the masses. Unless there is another thing, you can mention that. Now, the other point I'd like to make it, Mr. Natwar Singh was very at great pains to, what was your security requirement? What was the urgency about it? What new things had developed? I want to ask him whether the security develops all of a sudden. It is a continuous process. In 1989, were you aware that General Zia-ul-Haq had formulated what was called to pack? And in 1989, you were not prepared. Do you want something like Pearl Harbor to happen? Or do you want to be guided by the spirit of Munich? We must be prepared. We must be vigilant. And that should be our main concern. It has been mentioned that, we are negotiating, we are friends. On the one hand, we are saying that we are friends with China and we are negotiating. On the one hand, on the other hand, you say this. There is no contradiction, in fact, because your successful negotiation will depend when you are on equal footing. You cannot successfully negotiate national interest when you are in a position of weakness. China has conducted 45 tests. It is still in position to conduct laboratory tests. So there we don't have any grievance or any intentions against China. We only said that we want to remain prepared. Time and tide and events, there's some change suddenly. We must be prepared for all eventuality. That is the basic issue. And then, what was the greatest advantage of India in security? That was the advantage of strategic depth. If any enemy wants to harm us, it could do only up to a particular depth. We had advantage of depth. And that advantage was gone as soon as this Gauri was fired. And lot of announcements were made that we can hit Bombay, we can hit this and so on. All type of statements were made in Pakistan. We are aware of this. So the issue has to see that this is not something that we have decided to do. There are valid considerations for it, very strong justification for it, and you cannot say, and I want to ask Mr. Natwar Singh, what was the security threat that India faced in 1974 when Mrs. Gandhi exploded and we all applauded? No, you will answer later on. Let me first complete. I don't want to, so I didn't disturb you. So the issue is,
are you yielding?
I have not yielded. It will.
He's not
It will.
He is not yielding. He is not yielding.
All right.
No. I mean, I have posed a question. You can
Jagmohan ji,
also answer it, but I
Jagmohan
am
ji,
not.
you can address here and then.
You, sir, my point is that it will only interrupt my flow of thought. Take an answer. I am not saying that you won't get the possibility to answer. You can answer.
Answer. But you're not interested in listening to the answer.
Yes. We are interested in listening, but at the end.
No, please stop this cross talking. Now, Mr. Jagmohan, please continue. Right, Mr. He doesn't want to yield. I can't compel the member to yield. Yeah, he is not doing it. Please, continue. No pending commentary. Please, let us hear. So far, the debate has gone well, and let us continue.
No, there was no security threat, just as there is no security threat now. And the reason was because in 1968, the NPT had a clause that you could have peaceful nuclear explosions under the aegis of the NPT. Mrs. Gandhi said, no, we will have our own NPT, and she did. That's the reason.
But that doesn't answer the question.
No, honorable members, you may kindly sit. Mr. Jagmohan will reply. No, not you. Please,
But what is security threat now?
please be seated.
What is threat
Please
now?
resume your seat.
No, sir. What is the security threat today? What is the threat today? Only scientific advance.
Please, will you kindly, please be seated.
मिस्टर नटवर
Please resume a seat.
जॉर्ज फर्नांडिस का रेलवे स्ट्राइक की वजह से आप लोगों ने वो एक्सप्लोजन किया था। आप याद करिए
Major Kandori.
74
Nothing to do with George Fernandez railway strike.
had an all India
Nothing at all.
strike
Major,
and the railways are
please.
going to have stop work and it is because of that you did explosion in 74.
Jagmohan
It
ji.
has nothing to do with anything else. You are trying to dodge. You are trying to
You
check
please,
the issue.
don't interrupt. Let Mr. Jag Mohan continue.
That was the reason I didn't
He
want
will
to
reply. Why are,
Mr. George Fernandez.
he will reply. Why are you worried?
Mr. Indira Gandhi wanted to stop it
Please,
and that,
Mr. Jag Mohan.
that was done.
The whole country is watching our performance. Let us be.
And then, sir, what I was saying that about Pakistan, since even before this Pokhran 1, that in 1974, Pakistan, there are reports that Pakistan had been clandestinely trying to acquire nuclear power, atomic power. And their intentions, how do you decide? Even after 1972, when the Simla Agreement was signed, and we magnanimously released all the prisoners and we surrendered all the advantages, just to see that Mr. Bhutto was very liberally treated. And what Mr. Bhutto did when he reached there, back in Pakistan, after a few days, he shoots off a letter to Mr. Tikka Khan, General Tikka Khan. It is reported in his book also that he says that this is only a temporary matter. Be prepared for war. Upgrade your weaponry and we will teach them a lesson. We have always taught lesson to these people, and that is the spirit against which we are functioning. And now when Aslam Bey, when Damaz Sharif, when Benur Bhutto go on saying all type of things, all that we are saying is that we want also to be prepared. We are not using it, it is a matter of self-defense, to remain in preparedness. And sir, history teaches us, when you are weak, it tempts the other fellow to come on you. It whets the appetite of those people. So if you want to keep some people away, you have to be vigilant and you have to be strong. Otherwise, someone will be tempted to take advantage of your weakness. That we should never allow. It is not an aggressive posture, it is a posture to remain vigilant and learn some lessons from history. As I said, the spirit of Munich we don't want to visit us, the spirit of Pearl Harbor we don't want to mimic us. Another justification, how do you upgrade your technology? How do you dovetail the new technology of missile with your explosions? You can do so only when you experiment, only when you actually test and find out whether your calculations are right or wrong. These 5 tests are the most sophisticated tests meant to integrate, apart from the technology of explosion, to integrate the missile technology with the explosion technology. So what weight, what type of things? So this was absolutely necessary from the point of view of technological upgradation, from the point of view of improvement, from the point of strategy, and from the point of the use if it comes to being. So this was a very good measure and a very timely measure, and it has put now India on the map of the world. Now the world cannot take us for granted. Earlier what was being done? What was being done, that's 1/6 of the human race was being ignored by the nuclear club. And we were being dictated, this is good for you, good for us, but not good for you. What is this? This great civilization and this great culture could be dictated by a nuclear club, that you cannot do this? Are we living in a democratic world or not a democratic world? Is it not a violation of the United Nations Charter? It is our assertion against that undemocratic behavior of this nuclear club or this power curtain. It is an assertion of our self-respect. And I am quite sure we are counting advantages, we are counting costs. It will be a great inspiration to the nation. And for generations and generations, our young people will draw inspiration from this event. And it will give self-confidence and courage to this nation. A new dynamism, a new drive, a new initiative. Previously, we were just getting cynical that we are incapable of doing anything. Anybody can come and turn us around. So there is something deeper than is visible on the surface. We should not ignore this. Other point which I want to make in this regard is the issue of credit. Our distinguished and very senior colleague, Mr. Indrajit Gupta, mentioned that you have taken the credit. Nobody wants to give the credit. It's a credit that belongs to our scientists and technologists. I agree that the scientists and technologists have their credit. I give as much credit as anybody else would give. But you cannot deny this fact that you had to put this into operation. For this, political courage, political commitment was needed. And that was not forthcoming from the previous regimes. And this courage and this commitment has been demonstrated on May 11 and May 13 by our decisions. In fact, I do not say that the political party alone, our political party alone has contributed. I do not say that the scientists alone have contributed. Every street man has contributed. Every village man has contributed. Because after all, it is with their taxpayer money that we are financing these projects, and we will have to share the burden of the cost. I salute all of them. But you have to see that as a political party, I am sure you should not deny this. We are entitled to credit for this momentous decision. The political advantage has come to us. It has to belong to us. Now, our Prime Minister was very magnanimous, and he said that it is a continuous national effort. And what has happened is the culmination of that effort. I entirely agree that this is a culmination of the national effort. All of us have made a contribution. But the issue is, you knew the answer, we knew the answer, but it is only we have written the answer on the pages of history. It is we who have written this answer, and you did not write it. And so you should not grudge those who have written. They will be remembered in the pages of history as those who have written. And even if all this effort, I would put it slightly, effort, you have passed the examination, I have passed the examination, every political party has passed the examination one way in making this national effort, but some have passed in 3rd division, some in 2nd division, and some in 1st division and with distinction. I think we can claim that we have passed this examination with distinction. So this is where the credit should come to us. And now I would like to mention one more fact. It has been reported in the press, and I think there are reasonable ground for believing it to be true, that Mr. Narasimha Rao, at the time CTBT was under discussion, or NPT was under discussion, was thinking of exploding the nuclear device. And in fact, it has been stated that this file has been on the table of every Prime Minister. And that was probably the time when China was exploding, France was exploding, before the deadline for this comprehensive test ban treaty. India could have exploded. Why did not you do? Because that level of commitment and that level of courage was not forthcoming. That is the issue. That was the time. After all, for 24 long years, you have neglected this. Obviously, our technology remained backward as compared to the technology which have been developed. Now, these tests, apart from upgradation, have also shown courage and demonstrated to the world that you cannot take us for granted. Now, there is another factor. If you test, if you encourage your scientists and technologists, they will also sharpen their techniques. They will learn from experience. the technological and scientific base of this society would improve, and we can achieve great many things in many other fields. And I have with me an article written in the Herald Tribune, International Herald Tribune, by an American, about the interview and discussion, and then he writes about Mr. Abdul Kalam, our great scientist, and he quotes him as saying that at one stage Abdul Kalam was getting so frustrated that he was not getting an opportunity and the political approval was not being given to him for testing. And he was getting so frustrated that he wanted to leave the government and go away and become a vice chancellor of Madras University. That is what you are doing to your scientists and their morale. And when the morale is down, then the scientific advancement cannot take place. The technological advancement cannot take place. For 24 years, you have not given sufficient opportunities to your scientific and technological talent. And that is why they could not prosper. And most of them have gone abroad, a giant, some IAS job, or somebody has joined some other private firm. They should have been devoted, the best talent of the country should have been used for research and development. That has not happened. And even with regard to 10,000 megawatts of nuclear power that we had once planned to create by 1980, 88 or 87, this was the plan, and even the provision was made. Equipment for 500 crores was purchased. It is lying unutilized. But then this program was curtailed under pressure. The financial provision was not made. And these poor scientists were told that you go and borrow it from the market. These power corporation, nuclear power corporation should float bonds. Who will give me who will buy my bonds for nuclear power? Where is it? Starve them. 10,000 megawatts. And that is how the scientific base, the technological base of the society was damaged. Now we have got only few top scientists, some young budding scientists. We would have much greater talent if we had given them this opportunity to go on testing and improving. And from these sharpening of the mind, you would have also created many more things. Sir, these are the not the only parameters. There are larger parameters and deeper significance of what we have done. This is not only an assertion of our self-respect. This is not only an assertion of our knowledge and our competence. This is not only an assertion of the fact that we are willing to give concrete shape to our security requirement. This is not only a pointer to the world that you cannot ignore 1,000 million people. You cannot. 1 billion people cannot be ignored. But this is not the only parameter. This is not the only significance. The significance is to tell the world that it is being dominated by the power cartel, and we will not accept this domination of the power cartel. And this power cartel is now keep having an advantage position with regard to every sphere of activity. Let me quote a Russian intellectual. What does he say? He says that these issues, all the issues of international relations, the issues of security, economics, politics and so on, international politics, all those are being dominated by a cartel. What does it say? These issues are being effectively settled by a directorate headed by United States. Even Samuel Huntington, what does he say? He says the West is effectively using these international institutions, these military power and economic resources to run the world. It will maintain Western dominance, protect Western interest, and promote Western political economic values. That at least is the way in which non-Western sees the world, and there is significant element of truth in this view. what we have said is that we are not allowing this power cartel to continue with its dominance. We want to make the world opinion sensitive to this issue. Let the people, we have asserted our right that we will not accept an unjust and unfair order. And our former Prime Minister, a distinguished international expert and also a Urdu poet, there is, I would remind him what Faiz Ahmed Faiz had said, अरसाए दहर की झुलसी वैरानी में हमको रहना है तो यूं ही नहीं रहना है, अजनबी हाथों का बेनाम कर अंबार सतम आज सहना है, हमेशा तो नहीं सहना. So what we want to tell that all right, you have dominated for quite long, but by this self-assertion we have said that this power cartel is not acceptable to us, and that is why quite a lot of world opinion, maybe incipient world opinion, has really applauded the Indian efforts. It has applauded our efforts, and I am sure this step will revive the non-alignment movement. It will give new strength to these independent people that we cannot. Mr. Indrajit Gupta was saying that there is no power, there is no water in Delhi and we are exploding bombs. One of the reasons of our poverty is that this international economic system, which is manipulating the thing in such a way that very few resources are left for the poor people. All over the world, this is not happening in India alone, all the developing countries. I will just give you one statistics. In 1960, after all the talk of UNDP and Brundtland commissions and all this various commissions to have the sustainable development and all those, we'll give this Willy Brandt commission, we'll give this much aid and we'll do this and the poor should be helped and so should be done. But what is the actual result? In 1960, the bottom 20% of the world population had, and the difference between the top 20% of the world population was 30 times, the income disparities. Now it is 60 times. How is that these disparities are growing? Because what was earlier taken by the military domination, what was earlier taken by this manufactured good were sold here at a larger price and the things were taken away, the cheap labor and the cheap raw material. Now it is being taken by manipulation of the international system, by the manipulation of price, by the exchange rates. And they are maintaining this domination because if you have got great resources, 70 to 80% of the world resources are cornered by 15 to 20% of the people. Then you have got the world resources, you will have the best technology, you will have the best brains, you will have the best resources, and you will go on increasing your strength. You have established a very unfair world order, and this test is in a very humble way an assertion of the fact that we understand this. Now you cannot impose another unfair item to this unfair global system that we will have the monopoly of the nuclear power and no one else will have. This is what the issue is. We must understand that. We are not against anybody. We are not. We are only saying that the world should understand that this system won't work. Now, let me state what our point is. This test as also is it really for peace, not only for our security. It is really for the world peace, because what we have demonstrated is that this monopoly power cannot be allowed. And if you want real world peace, you must eliminate all weapons. We will not carry out any test. You must have an international agreement that all nuclear stockpiles will be eliminated within a specified period. No test will be done, whether in the laboratory or in the else. Now, once you have completed your test, developed a technology which gives you all the benefits of a laboratory test, and now even in the laboratory they are developing a warhead which can penetrate deep into the earth. They need not now test. So once on the one hand you are acquiring more and more and a lethal technology, a more dangerous technology, and telling us that you should not do anything. So you will be dominating the world completely by this technology. So if you are really concerned with the world peace and international stability, then we must have a new, we really must have a really genuine comprehensive test ban treaty. Genuine control over the weapons. If you can have control over biological weapons, or you eliminate biological weapons, chemical weapons, why not the atomic weapons? And I would just quote you the opinion of the International Court of Justice. Now, these cartels, why are they not sensitive to the unanimous view expressed by the International Court of Justice? I'll just go on, just one line I'll read to you. He said, you do not love humanity if you seek to divide the humanity in jealous camps. The present policy against which we are asserting ourselves is dividing the world in jealous camps. And what does it say further? That America was created to serve the humanity and not to divide mankind. And should President Clinton not take this message to 21st century? And what did President Eisenhower say in his farewell address?
Main speaker, he got a lot of time. From their time. Many other people.
Anyhow, I'll just say. Yes, the point is what he said was that every atom bomb exploded will mean millions of hungry people, will mean millions of waterless people. So you must stop that. And what is President Kennedy's message? He says that you must abolish all these weapons of war before they abolish us. And McNamara's best security is development, and development is security. So follow these principles all over the world, and the world will really become a great world in 1900, in the 21st century. We'll make our contribution, and we are a great civilization. Our value system is that we are one great family. That is our culture, that is our civilization, and we would like to make that contribution, as Toynbee said, that the 21st century belongs to India. What it really means is that the value system of India will dominate the new world. And let us all cooperate and create a peaceful and progressive world, which is free from hunger, which is free from disease. And India will contribute to that, and India's contribution has always been very of this order, and very humble, and very of a high order at the same time. I would once again say that this issue should be considered in the larger aspect, and our technology and our know-how is really meant for our own self-defense and for peaceful purposes. Ultimately, we will convert all this for peaceful purposes. And I would again say that we are neither against Pakistan nor against China. We only want that when we sit at the negotiating table, they should not get the impression that we are a weak nation and we can be pushed around. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.